gentlemen, once again to our review show. This one is a round 4. Things are getting very interesting. We're joined here by Podgy O'Brien, who is the sports editor of the Longford Leader, and also Jimmy Jess, who is a commentator with Clubber TV, the streaming service, providing a fantastic service for those who may not be able to meet the matches. So Podgy, the major headline for the sports page this week?
A very straightforward one. This is who will make it through to the quarter-finals, Mick. And as we know 4 of them, we know half of them at this stage. The 3 from the other group are gone through. You have Killoe, Colmcille and Rathcline. And then it's down to Granard and Edgertown. They're playing Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, which is a massive match because whoever loses ends up in the relegation playoff. So an awful lot at stake there. And then Abbeylara are through by virtue of their draw last week against Carrick Edmond. And then there's some battle then for the other 3 places. So Saturday evening, Group B matches are all on, and there are a few calculators out if it's needed. But I wouldn't like to predict who'll go through now at this stage. No.
Round 4 on Friday night, Killoe Young Emmets 2:15, Rathcline 0-7. Were you commentating on that?
Yeah, we were here in Ballymahon. And significantly, it was the first game under lights here, in the new lights here in Ballymahon. You can see them behind us. So it's a brilliant, another pitch that's floodlit, other options for the county board for matches.
And just to say that, the lighting seems much better than some of the other lights. I presume that they're newer lights. Better.
Yeah, the LED, and they have 4 poles each side here, so it's a really good, sitting. So that was the first night here. John Ryan was here. He's a stalwart of Ballymahon GAA, and just to mention him there, he was excited that he was going to get to throw the ball in. But unfortunately, rules wouldn't allow him to throw the ball in, so it wasn't. But the game itself, look at it, was I suppose there was very little significance into the game as both teams had already qualified for the quarter-finals. Rathcline were still down Shane Kenny, they were still down Cian Gilmore and that, so they were weakened. But it was a very one-sided game. It was completely dominated by Killoe from start to finish the whole game, and they looked very impressive, and they seemed to be improving. They have been impressive all through the championship. There was one little hiccup maybe against Mostrim where they could have maybe lost that game, but apart from that, Killoe look steps ahead of any other team. Now that's in that group that they're in. Who knows when they meet in the quarter final against the battle-hardened groups, teams that are coming out there. They've yet to be tested really, really tough test. And the White Rathcline away early on. And it was a chance then for Luke Dempsey to bring in a lot of subs and brought in a lot of young players. Young Jake Donnelly was back there as well and got time into him. Mickey Quinn, of course, still isn't back. But I was very impressed with Daniel Mimna. And I keep harping back to Daniel Mimna, but he's everywhere in the pitch. I remember at one stage in the first half, he took a 14-yard free down here in these goals, stuck it over the bar. And the kick-out came. He was winning the ball in his own 45, and that's the work rate that Luke Dempsey has Killoe doing. Like, that was just one example, but it's throughout the pitch. They're just, and the real scoring forwards, the 3 Morans were there. Paddy had a great game. Larry was in full forward, scored a goal and a point, and James was also back. So they've them back. There's loads of players coming back. And they're looking very impressive.
Now earlier on, when we referred to this, like when we were talking to Luke Dempsey, he talked about when they were blown away in the Leinster Championship last year because physically and stamina and all that, and he was determined to work on that. Do you see the fruits of their labour in that regard? You can see that.
I see it, and the only problem I would have at this stage for them is the tests haven't been strong enough to really show what they have. Now that'll come when they meet, as I say, with the other group. The other groups are beating the hell out of each other and getting real tough championship games and preparing themselves better for a quarter final into Pearse Park. Killoe have yet to have that championship battles, and maybe that they're going in untested, and that mightn't stand to them when they come to a quarter final stage. So they could be caught in the hop in a quarter final, and that might be the only place where they might be caught in the hop, I think. But they look very impressive.
And Podgy, what was your stance in the paper on that match?
Look at the fact that both teams already qualified. It took the intensity level wasn't very high, to be honest. But I was impressed with Killoe, and particularly in attack, the way they moved the ball. And Larry Morden being back is a big plus because he's very intelligent. Jesus, some of his passes were pinpoint, and his brother Paddy coming at 100 mile an hour, kind of turbocharged type forward who's very hard to stop went in full flight. And then James, the brother, like the three of them were back, like, you know, and for a lot of last year, like, I think Paddy's played for a couple of years, or Larry, and James was injured. So, and then they have all the other lads coming back, like Michael Quinn and Liam Hughes, like, you know, all chomping at the bit to get in. Keane Dooner, another really good forward. You know, so any amount of talent. So I was impressed, but it wasn't a test because Rathcline were happy with what they had. They're through to the quarter-final. And they're looking further ahead, and the rest of those players that Jimmy mentioned, and also Shane Dunn, who wasn't playing.
Shane was
so they're the three card trick, if you want to call them, in the Rathcline team, other than Oran Kenny, who's a class act when he gets enough of the ball. So when they're all back, you know, the Rathcline just have to move on a bit because they got the quarterfinals the last 2 years, and they really need to be getting to a semi-final, in my opinion. But Killoe are going to be hard stopped.
I was talking to Trevor Glenagh just before the game and asking him about the injuries, and he said, look, they're nearly there, and because it was not a nothing game, but the result didn't matter, there was no point in putting them through
just
it.
For top spot, Jimmy.
So look, get them back is the thing, and have them ready for the next day. You know, maybe get a game against Colmcille this weekend and have them ready for 3 weeks' time when the championship starts, or the quarterfinals.
Podgy, I know Benny was commentating on Saturday at the Colmcille Mostrim match. Colmcille 2-11, Mostrim 1-11. I think you were there yourself, were you?
It was. I'll have to hand it to Edgerton. You just never can tell with Edgerton. They can really put it up to teams, and they put it up to Colmcille for quite a bit last week. Now, Colmcille's case wasn't helped by the red card for Jack Mackin. He clashed with Jack Belton. I hope Jack is okay. I think he might have been concussed there, I don't know. But
he went to the hospital, but he's okay.
I think it wasn't any malicious. It was just one of those, you know. Look, it's a red card offence, so be it. But Jack will only miss one game, I think, and that'll be the game against Rathcline, which both teams are already qualified. So Colmcille in periods can look very good, but then they just drift, and then, you know, you say to yourself, if that's against a stronger team, what's going to happen? And they were 3 points to nil down, like, you know, and if they're 3 points to nil down against Killoe, then it's an uphill battle, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think at the previous round match, was the second round, I was talking to Jerry, that like that, you know, they sort of came out second half, much better focused and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure it's a worry for Jerry that.
Yeah, but he has a good squad. He can bring on the likes of that Rory Hawkins, the good forward there.
Owen as well.
You know, and Owen as well, and there's a lot of talent there. And the Mackin was back now. He came back. When Jack Mackin got sent off, his older brother Enda, who plays for the county as well. He'd come in full back and steady the ship. So he would be kind of a bit like what we're trying to at, lads. Niggling injury, won't play them unless we have to. But basically, they had to bring him on because they needed a result. And he steadied things up at full back for Colmcille. But Edgerton came good near the end there, and the other full back.
Shane Campbell.
Very good goal. Yeah. You know, kind of an unsung hero, that fella, because not of a name that you hear much of. A big, strong guy, you know, and of course Shane Kiernan. Like, what can I say about Shane Kiernan? Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, he's an inspiration, like, for Edgerton and the Doc Doherty, you know, young Doc.
The one thing I was about Mostrim was. They got their scoring boots back on. Like, they did get 1-11. I know there were 50 minutes against 14 men, and they didn't push forward enough until late on. But 1-11, where they had been, you know, hesitant to score in previous games, and they're going to need that against Granard. You know, like they were minus Martin Kyle, they were minus Dario Cigliano, they were minus Cian McLaughlin. You know, 3 starters. So hopefully, I think Cian and Martin will definitely be back for Granard. Dario probably won't. But that was one positive to take. But I was impressed with Fergal Shorten again for Colmcille, and he got 2 goals, and the goal just before half time, I think that was crucial.
That was the one.
You know, they were a point up going into half time with a man down, and just Mostrim turned off, and Mostrim tend to do that sometimes. Just stop, turn off, and Fergal Shorten got through for a goal. They went 4 points up, and he got his second goal. If you remember the goal he got against Granard, it was nearly the exact same, whether they worked on it or not. Where they run down this way, he makes the run through. High ball, and he just panned it.
He's so tall, big towering figure that he just said, slap it down, basically like a basketball player.
Yeah, he did the same against Granard. Yeah,
so he stood out last week, Fergal, and you can see why he was getting runs with the county, and maybe there's still a future for him in the county because I mean we need big men, and we have a lot of small men and great workers and all that. But
nothing wrong with being a midget.
Nothing wrong with being a midget.
Maybe when you're playing with the county.
Well, there's no midgets playing for the county.
Not anymore.
Jimmy, on Sunday then, Kenagh got a bit of a hammering. I'm sure it's okay to say, from St Mary's Granard, who were beaten 6-4-10.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kenagh, they've lost every game so far, and they're facing Killoe this Friday or next Friday night. So that's not going to be any easier for them. I thought early on that maybe they'd have a kick in a game and maybe they'd cause a surprise somewhere, but it didn't happen for them. And look at Granard. Granard hadn't any
but
points.
But they were looking good earlier on. They got the first 3 scores, I think.
And in each game they did, and they got a good start, but they don't build on it, and then other teams get into the game. But Granard needed a win. It was important that they did get a win and take it into the last game, So look, very impressive from Granard. They had James Kiernan was back. Who the other? No, Tully was back as well. I don't think Micheál Hines was back yet, but it was a good run out for Granard, and they'll go in with confidence now against Mostrim. Coming off after 3 defeats, now they have a victory, so they'll build their confidence and get them ready for this titanic battle on Sunday.
Pachi?
Yeah, as I say, Granard, they won Division 1 in the league, which can't be ignored now, but it was a kind of a funny league because the county players couldn't play in a lot of the games, So, but that notwithstanding, it was great to see Granard winning some silver. We were at senior level, to lose 3 games in a row in the championship, and particularly the Rathcline game, that put them under pressure, Jimmy, from the Moor goal. As regards who's going to make it through, because there's always going to be that little battle there at the end. People weren't giving Kenagh much chance that they weren't going to make it, and they come up from intermediate after all. And look, it's been proven, and I think the best performance with up Kenagh was probably against Edgerstown.
They were,
had them on the rack there for a long time.
They were well up in the first half there.
See, that's Edgerstown for you, because you just don't know what Edgerstown team is going to turn up like. But the fact that they did score 111, and now they're playing Granard on Sunday, and that's a 50-50 game, I'd say, Jimmy.
Probably is.
You know what I mean? And remember, the losers go into the relegation, so there's a lot at stake, a lot at stake in all those games that means something this weekend,
Haji, Clonguish and Dromard. I'm sure Dromard are going to be very disappointed after that game on Sunday. Clonguish 2-17, Dromard 2-3.
The Dromard performance was too bad to be true, to be honest with you. Clonguish would have beaten anybody last week, and then probably would have beaten nearly Killoe the way they played, because they attacked with serious pace with Jack Duggan coming through. And
was that because of all the losses they've had so far? It was crucial they had to step up, or
step up or step out, and stepped up. But they should really be top of that group with the talent that they have. I mean, they lost. They were 6 points up against Mullinocta, and how they managed to lose, I don't know. They're probably still wondering, but they're back in it now. And I'd just like to mention that Michael Flynn came back. He was a big plus for them, and Conor Fowley's on the team in the championship last year. His younger brother Cormac was very, very good.
Great,
he's a little slippery eel, nearly impossible to mark.
He's still in school. He's still in
he draws fouls too, and you draw fouls, that's a guaranteed point, because Matthew Carey scored 11 and 9 of those were frees. And then Jack Duggan breaking from midfield and these big runs So there's a lot of talent there, but now they're playing Abbeylara at the weekend. Abbeylara already qualified, so you'd have to. Everybody is fancying Clonguish to beat Abbeylara. But you just don't know, do you?
Will Abbeylara come out and say, right, we'll do the devil and all to beat these guys, or will they sit back and say, let's relax, we're through?
Well, you have to look at Abbeylara want to top the group, because the top the group they're going to be playing Granard or Edgerstown in the quarter final.
Right.
If they come second, it's Rathcline or Colmcille. So if I was them, I'd rather top the group and play Mostrim or Granard, who haven't been as good in the championship.
Right.
That would be my. And I'm sure Frankie Dolan, whatever team he's going to send out, he's going to send them out to win the game. And at this stage, no team is going to let any other team have it handy. If they beat Clonguish, they knocked Clonguish out.
Yeah.
And that's a big plus too, because Clonguish are starting to get their mojo together, and they were really, and talking about Cormac Flynn, I gave him man of the match on Sunday, you know, he kept going, I went at Dromard and kept going at them. Now, Dromard were very poor, and the 2 goals they got in the first half, and Joe O'Brien, if you're watching, I'm sorry Joe, but like, you mustn't have had good gloves in your hand, but he caught 2 balls, dropped them, and then Francie McGee and Jeremy Masterson just nipped in and scored the goals.
I thought the key in that game was the way that Clonguish bottled up Aaron Farrell.
Yeah.
Aaron never got going at all, and generally all the key players on the Dromard team didn't get going, so there's still a kick in them.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I think we're okay with the umbrella. Yeah. Jack of all trades here.
Just something now I just noticed. It's lovely and warm here in Ballymahan at the new beautiful lights lit showground, and I'm looking at Podgy here. He looks like a man who's going to climb Mount Everest. Now Jimmy is not climbing Mount Everest, but he looks like he could be carrying too.
I might be grabbing his hat in a minute.
I'm just after coming from the beach, so if you're a bit confused, that should be an explanation. Sorry, Podgy, go ahead.
So we're talking about Dromard, how poor they were on Sunday. They're not as poor as that, and there's a lot of pride out in that parish. Like, and they're not going to go down without a fight. I think when they met last year, Jimmy, Slashers needed a result and they finished in a draw, so it could be every bit as tight again. Slashers beating Mullinock, giving them a lot of momentum going into this make or break game. Yeah. So very hard to call this one too, like toss up. I think people said the Slashers was going to bet Dromard, but this is a different game and a different scenario, and it's the last chance, and you know.
Now, Jack Duggan, I think his goal was nearly. Shane Kenny scored two crackers of goals against Granard in the first round, but Jack Duggan scored a goal on Sunday. He ran onto a ball in the 45, didn't bend down, just flicked it up with the foot, caught it. Started Solar on these long strides, went round 2 or 3 men and blasted the ball. I just mentioned that it was a cracking goal. That
particular manoeuvre, I just love seeing it, and it happened in a couple of games at the weekend where they just, you know, they were running and they just chipped it up, and it just looks just brilliant.
Paul Barton was a master of that.
He could just go and he's gone. There's no catching him.
God, if he was playing with Clonguish now, he could still be playing with Clonguish.
Yeah, well, sure, David wasn't brought on. But little Kevin Burke, he made a
difference. He made a difference because he gets stuck in where others maybe wouldn't get stuck in, like, you know. And Wayne's fighting about Peter Hanley as well. So they're getting lads back, like, you know. And if their target all along after poor start by their standards was to get to Pearse Park, and now they're a win away from doing that. And when you get to Pearse Park, it's nearly anybody's ball game. But look, I just think with the way the thing is panning out, and with the say results go a certain way, that you could have Clonguish and Killoe meeting in the quarter final. No, that would be something else. When this thing started, this competition started out, they were saying, well, Killoe and Clonguish, they'll win their groups and they'll stay apart and they'll meet in the final. Now it looks like they're going to have to meet in the quarter final. So one of them has to go then. You know, so like that's the nature of the draw. It worked out a real tough group against a group that wasn't as tough, let's be honest about it.
No, that's it.
You know what I mean? Like,
And Podgy, your own club Slashers had a good win against Mullinock, 0-10 to 0-7.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot will resolve. The pressure was on the Slashers, so like needed to get a win, and they had a couple of draws. They had a couple of draws and they lost to Abbeylara by a point, so like they were very competitive. And now Tommy Donoghue, the former Killoe manager, he's beginning to make that impact now. And but then if they lose on Saturday evening against Dromard, really all comes for nothing, because they're out of chance of into relegation playoff.
Slashers.
If Slashers lose,
no, the Slashers are
and there's still a chance on the
Slashers are on 5 points. So
no, they're not on 4. 2 draw.
Oh, 4, yeah.
So I think a draw will do Slashers.
It depends on other,
Yeah, a
draw definitely will.
Well, it'll be highly unlikely if 4 gets them through.
Yeah. The simple scenario for everybody would be that
Clonguish
would lose and Dromard would lose and they'd be out.
You know what I mean?
It won't happen like that.
I just don't think it happen like that. Slashers are. That's a big boost for them now to beat Mullinock. But they were always able to do well against Mullinock. Bet them in the semi-final a couple. Remember the COVID delayed championship went into the following year, and Slashers bet Mullinock in the semi-final. And that was a Mullinock team firing on all cylinders. All the John Keegan and what you call it, Reem Brady and all them guys was playing. You know what I mean? Like, they're not playing now, obviously. But when they were still a powerful force.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not the force to war, but they're hard beaten. Like, they're playing Carrick-Edmond now, and I wouldn't rule out Carrick-Edmond either. So you know what I mean? That's another key one too on Saturday evening. So, like,
well, getting to that match, Carrick-Edmond and Abbeylara, was it a case of Abbeylara coming back and deserving, or Carrick-Edmond letting it go?
Letting it go because there were 4 points up. This is a thing with Carrick-Edmond over the years. Just when you think, you know, that it's done, they just fade, and they faded. They faded badly because I don't think they really didn't score for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But Abbeylara, Frankie Dolan has made a big difference because Abbeylara, there was resolve about them again, and it says, well, look, we're not gone here. And to me, they looked extremely fit now. Like, they dominated the last 15 minutes and could have won it in the end, but Carrick-Edmond came down. We're 4 points up midway through the second half. You say this game is over. And you must remember Abbeylara were playing against a fairly stiff breeze.
Yeah.
So there was they're not going to get back into this, to the general opinion, but they did. They went a point in front, right at the death, Carrick-Edmond, and then who comes back on Robbie?
Of course, yeah.
Pressure free, and he kicks it over the bar, and it's a draw. And as it turned out, everybody's happy. Maybe not Carrick-Edmond because they needed to win, but Abbey are through, and now Carrick-Edmond needed a result again when they knocked it. You know, it's be hard done, but I wouldn't rule them out.
Yeah, I watched the first half of that on Clubber there, and before I had to go to the other games. But there was a lot of bit of niggle in it, and Hugh Kane, he should have got on top of it earlier on, and it threatened to spill over, you know. But it was a tight game, and again, Owen McCormick played well, scored a great goal there too. But
Maguire too was sharper too.
Maguire was a fair little lot of work there in the middle too. Abbeylara weren't as good as they had been in other games. You know.
I like that Scanlon guy, that Kieran Scanlon in midfield. He looks one that I know was called into the county there towards the end of last season, and we want to definitely be looking for a future, like, you know. But as I say, now Colin P. Smith wasn't playing for Abbeylara, and neither was Brian Masson. Now Brian Masson had quite a good year for the county, like a corner back, wing back, loads of pace. So basically, I'd say a bit like Rathcline, they weren't taking chances with these guys, even though they did need the result. 5 points was probably going to be good enough anyway, no matter what way it turned out. So when they have everybody back, there'll be no pushover. Yeah. And the manager means an awful lot, and he's a high-profile manager, and been there, done that, Frankie Dolan. And when they get to the park, then you wouldn't like to be meeting them now.
I know, they're a tough team, a tough side.
You know,
no holds barred with them now.
You know, even back in the day with the 3 finals Mullinacha, like, they were lucky at least one of those that didn't win, like, you know. So it's kind of become frustrating for them because they just can't get that little step further, you know. Maybe there was a title in them and they didn't get it, but again. So now,
can I go back to the 2 games over in Edgerton, the Clonguish and sorry, under umbrella. Clonguish and Dromard and Mullinacha and Slashers. Both Dromard and Mullinacha had it was a very strong win, Podgy, wasn't it?
It was a strong win.
And both Dromard and Mullinacha, they went in 2 points, I think, respectively at half-time down, and with the strong win in the second half, and they were both beaten on the scoreboard in the second half of that strong win. Yeah. And unusual for Mullinacha, whereas the week before, Jason Matthews had scored 2-4 where they got ball into him. They gave nothing in. With that breeze, they kept playing it out around the wings, around the fringes. The same with Dromard. And Mostrim, it's a big pitch in Hugh Devine Park, and I don't think it suits the likes of Dromard or the likes of Mullinacha.
Suits Clonguish.
Yeah, the younger players pulled them out wide and spread them, you know, and it didn't suit both those teams. But neither of them used the wind, and I couldn't understand why they weren't kicking a ball into, because they both have quality forwards, you know.
So that's why you're looking at a different scenario next weekend. You're looking at a different situation with venues, like the Mullinacha would be generally considered to be a tight pitch.
A tighter pitch,
and it might suit Dromard more so than Slashers.
So the whole idea of a tight pitch is
Killoe as well as a tight pitch. Well, it suits the younger, faster teams.
Slashers are a young team generally, and Clonguish. Yeah. So, but like again with the youth, then when the pressure comes on, and like particularly with Clonguish, you know. Now, I think they were in the same situation last year. They had to win the last match, and I think they won easy, and they got through, and they got to the county final and could have won it. Yeah. So, like, you get through, it's a whole new ball game then. Yeah. You're into a kind of a different competition in a way.
That's it. Starts again.
You know, it starts again. You know.
Well, it's great getting reaction from people and comments online. We appreciate your comments and feedback and all that. And I have to give a shout out to Brendan Riley for his his remarks. So Brendan has been asked to come on next week as a guest appearance. So Brendan, hope you'll be able to come on and maybe lift the tone and the mood of the whole nation with your commentary, etc. I have no doubt you will.
Yeah, but the one thing about Brendan, like, he talks a lot of sense, you know, and anybody wants to look back at his comments,
But
like,
I
it
was
really was.
passed off about his comment, and I passed it off on to somebody else. But look, that's beside the point. We didn't get any information from people who are using Club or Abroad, folks. Maybe if you do, you might send an email to ballymahatantv@gmail.com, and we're going to try and get a solution to the problem. People are having difficulty finding where these things are, so we'll try and sort that out before the next round of matches. So intermediate matches, lads?
Yeah, intermediate matches. There was a full round of them there.
Shaping up nicely now.
Shaping up nice. It was three. The top three, I suppose, won their games at the weekend. Connolly's, Fetterman Gales and Killoe. Both of those won, or all of those won, and left them all, 6 points, 4 points, 4 points. And if those three teams win this weekend again,
more or less true,
they're all through to the semi-final, and it's a battle between the other four then for the final places.
And Fetterman Gales are very lucky against Cashel.
It was a tight one.
Only won by a point. You know, so again, Fetterman Gales kind of shooting themselves in the foot a lot. They're missing a lot of chances, panicking when it comes to the business end. Look, but they're sound. They have 3 wins over 4 now, and Conley's going well. Conley's very hard beaten now, I think, now in the intermediate this year. Yeah. You know, they'll be knocking at the door, and like, Jesus, if there was, they have 4 or 5 county players, like. The 2 Reynolds, of course, they play intermediate football, like when there's senior standard players, like,
And Dara Duggan.
And
as well, like,
and Lynch, Dylan Lynch, son of the manager, Michael, and then you have Ronan McGreal, and you have
so the qualities.
Dan Farrell, lad, a good lad too, an up and coming lad as well.
Yeah,
they have a good mixture of youth there with experience as well. Kieran McEwen is still playing, I think, back, Killoe, Ray Curry's back at Killoe, but they got it very hard to beat Ballymore. There was only 2 points in it, and Killoe got a late goal, 2 by 5. So they were actually 4 points down at one stage in the second half. See, Ballymore, it's great to see Ballymore being competitive coming out of the junior, but we always knew that they would because they had a good lot of young lads coming through.
Yeah, they have.
And McIlvanny is playing well for them, you know what I mean? And McIlvanny, even, he must be nearly 40 years of age, is he?
Oh, sure, he has to be.
Yeah,
he has to be.
But a serious footballer, and when he played with the county, there was no better fielder, in Jordan his time. I think the last man who caught ball like him was David Hannafy for Fetterman Gales. He was majestic, He used to catch the ball and kick it into Podgy Davis, and Podgy Davis do the rest. A bit like Big Niall for Abbey.
Yeah.
Big Niall now was managing Fetterman Gales, as it turns out. But he used to kick the ball at the Big Niall. Yeah. And once you kick it anywhere near Big Niall, it was only going to be one winner.
A nightmare for any full back.
All my time watching, I don't think I've seen a more exciting full forward play. There was a guy from Edgestown, all right. He was brilliant. The crowd used to love him. Mel Noonan.
Oh.
Mel gets the ball. And there was a buzz. The crowd used to lift. Just the buzz in the crowd was every time he got, like Desi Barry for Slashers. When they gave him the ball, you could feel that there was huge crowds going to the matches then, Mick, because it was completely knockout. And like you had only one chance. And now you have several chances.
It's harder to go out and stay.
But the intermediate, as Jimmy says, it looks like a Cluffordom battling it out for one of the spots. Killoe not just there yet now, but I think they're playing Friday evening again. Granard might do to win that, more or less cinches their place, But
and the junior.
Grattan's got beaten last week now, but I think the 2 Murray brothers are injured.
Both of them, Carl and Ruben, they both have broken wrists, or maybe not broken wrists, but the 2 of them have strapped wrists, both the right wrists.
How long will they be out for, Jimmy?
I'd say there could be another 3 or 4 weeks, I'd imagine now.
Was that from playing hurling or football?
It was hurling as far as I know now. As far as I know. But the 2 of them brothers in the same injury.
As I say, they play hurling with Longford Slashers, you see. And so
there'd be a huge loss to Grattans, like
a huge loss to Grattans. Obviously, Grattans were beaten last week.
Yeah, and Legan got beaten as well.
Yeah, Colmcille beat Grattans, and
Killoe was at the big.
Killoe beat Legan by a point. Slashers by Clonguish. So Grattans are, Grattans will still go. The top 4 out of 6 go into the semi-final. But Colmcille were kind of written off. all bar Clonguish, I think the rest all have a chance of making through the semi-final. So it's not done and dusted just yet. But much as you'd love to see two solely junior clubs getting to the final league in
I'd
Granard,
like to see it, but
it mightn't just happen that way. Killoe have lost players now to their senior squad because of their injury problems, you know, and maybe are not as strong as they were. But you still fancy Granard to get to the final.
Yeah,
well, it's kind of very dependent on
they could meet League in the semi-final, like the two junior clubs could meet
in the semi-final. Like you know, now League aren't as strong as they were either. No. I don't think. But look, there's nothing in the game.
Clonguish should have win over Slashers, hadn't they? In that.
No, Slashers beat Clonguish in that.
Slashers beat Clonguish.
Slashers are in contention. It looks like Slashers going to make it with their second string. You know.
I caught a bit of that game. I was at a hurl under, and it was over in Allen Park, and I was just walking by and I stopped for a little minute, and the Clonguish goalie tried a little flick up like Jack Duggan, and it didn't come up to him, and the Slashers lad just stuck it in behind him. So it doesn't always work.
And tell us now, Jimmy, you're always trying to avoid the hurling. Can you come back to the hurling?
Well, explain the hurling scenario.
You have a ball and you have
not
a slitter.
No, what's going to happen next? That's the whole thing. Edgerton are in the final.
Yeah, we're in the final. Yeah. We beat Clonguish in the first round by 9 points, and then we lost the Slashers in the last game by a point. So it means that on score difference, Mostrim or Wolftones can't be caught. So it's down now to Sunday week. Clonguish and Slashers will play in effectively what's a semi-final. But in order for Clonguish to qualify for the final, they have to win by 5 points or more.
Right.
So that's the scenario. So the favourites to go into the final would be Slashers.
Even without the Murrays?
Even without the Murrays, they'd still be favourites. They were very impressive against Wolftones over in Clonguish last week. Scored heavily, you know, and the look odds on, I think, to get JJ Dignan back after 3 years, you know.
Yeah, and Clonguish, they won the last two now.
They won the last two.
They'd go out, obviously, if they don't get the required result.
Yeah, they have to win by 5 or more.
Yeah.
Anything else, and it's Slashers and Wolftones in the final.
Right. And
so that's in Edgerton now.
So why since they played in the final, Jimmy? It's a few years since Slashers and Edgerton met in the final.
Slashers and Edgerton met 3 years when Slashers won it. 3 years ago. Yeah.
I think it was a tight job too, wasn't
21, yeah, 21.
Not
as well enough, that year, yeah.
It's
but Slashers didn't like, they haven't won as many champipionships over the years as they should have won, really, you know, and they should have won more, you know, so they'll be looking to put that right. But they're going well this year, and they'll probably have the two. I doubt they'll have the two Murrays back for the Clonguish game, but if they get to county final on the 22nd of September, they should have them back for that.
Doing a lot of work on underage level Slashers.
Yeah, a lot of work in there. Niall Ward, of course,
I think he used to manage every team in Slashers.
I think he's still, he's a director of hurling there.
Wherever he says goal, he's the boss.
But he is great now.
He's fulfilling the commitment now from him, you know. And I suppose if you didn't have the likes of him,
that's it.
Hard to keep afloat.
Lads like that in every club, you know. I love the hurling, yeah.
Well, that's the round. Have we something else?
We have. Our new county manager.
Oh yeah. So new county manager. Podgy, now I don't know an awful lot about Gaelic football, as Brendan Roddy would say, but I've never heard of this man. So his story, have you?
Yeah, no, his appointment was announced on Twitter. Everything is announced on Twitter these days now. On X.
Elon, sorry.
And it's that he was being recommended. So when you're recommended, basically you're the manager, right? So that's it. He's the new manager. He's from Ballahadreen. He managed Mayo to win the All Ireland Under-21 title in 2016, and he also managed Mayo to win the Connacht Under-21 title in 2018. So big into strength and conditioning, from what I hear. Not a name that jumps off the page now, Jimmy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I hope they get this one right now.
Solon, is that Mike Solon?
Solon, yeah. I don't know how you pronounce it, Solon or Biden or Borden, but he's. He went for the Mayo job now, and when McStay got it, I think he might have been looking at when Holden came back a second time.
Right.
And he had a big ticket, a strong ticket put together, but they gave the job to McStay. So
he's managing Tour de Strand at the minute.
He is Tour de Strand, Sligo, yeah. But he's, like I say, he could be the next big thing. But we don't know.
I suppose the thing that is no experience at senior inter-county level manager, but he was with Andy Moore in
He was in Leitrim
22 and 23.
He was, yeah. He was in Leitrim for 2 seasons, and he wasn't there this season.
Yeah.
And of course, Mickey Graham came in last year. Mickey was 2 years in the second season with York, and I don't know what role then Mike Solon had then, but they say, like, obviously he's a very good coach, and as he's proven by winning those underage titles with Mayo. Well known in Mayo, obviously, but not well known generally all around the country.
I suppose the 3-man team, like they're knowledgeable, and they've interviewed a few, I suppose, and he's come up top. So look, it's up to everybody to get behind him, and for clubs to encourage players to get in and roll behind the county.
We need to do that. We need to get everybody that's good enough to play for Longford and to be there and. Get out of Division 4.
That's his first job, is to get out of Division 4.
No, it won't be easy next season because you have Limerick, Wexford down there, and you have Tip with a new manager. Well, they're appointed Philly Ryan, former goalkeeper. So, like, they're going to come with a burst as well, like, and they're not as bad as their position would suggest last year.
Yeah.
And then you have Limerick, Wexford, and you have Wicklow as well. You know what I mean? There's nothing easy. And then, of course, Carl have a new manager, Shane Curran. Best of luck, Gaek. Roscommon man, close at hand. Look, the only way is up for our senior team. We had a bad year, let's be honest about it. Like, we didn't win any matches.
Can you see a new guy coming in and sort of changing the first 15, or do you think that the first 15 that we have are going to be more or less there, is it?
No, you need to get everybody available.
Well, I don't think that Longford ever has their best 15 available to them, or their best 25 or 30 available for one reason or another, whether it's work or whether it's family commitment or anything like that. And it's hard to commit to a county setup because it's tough going.
It's onerous, yeah.
But I would have thought that maybe they would have gone for an experienced inter-county manager. We've had Billy O'Loughlin now, we've had Paddy Christie, who really hadn't any inter-county experience at senior level, and now Mike Solon. Look, I wish him the best of luck, and hopefully, his selection, whoever he picks as selectors and everything else, and everybody rows in behind him because we really need to get out of Division 4.
And I think in that situation that we had one Longford selector last year, I think you should try and go and get 2 Longford selectors on him.
Yeah.
And work with Paddy was a bit removed from the local scene in Wales. He had Cosmos Gilmore, and first he had Garrett, and then he was a partner of the Wales, and for whatever reason, and then Cosmos was a good man, he'd done living in Galway for the last many years, and but if he's going to bring in, why not bring in 2?
Bring in 2
guys, Keenan or Eugene McCormick or somebody like that.
That are at the bread and butter of club football here.
No, I seen him. He was in Ireland watching that match last week, and I thought for a minute that he was.
He was an ultrasound as well.
He was. So maybe I said it's just a new manager of the long team because he was mentioned and he was.
Well, maybe he's in the setup.
Maybe he's in the setup. So if he was in them 2 venues, then I'd say he's looking like he might be one of the selectors, which would be a good thing for Longford, and former player and midfielder, played for Longford, and a giant of a man.
He'll have to wear a wig now or a disguise the next time. He was spotted in one place.
Because I spotted him in out in Ardagh. So it's this man getting the job. And then when the news broke last night, I was a little bit surprised then to think all of a sudden that it's all wrapped up. On the selection committee that they went for an outsider again. And I hope it works. Best of luck to them.
Absolutely.
And we all wish the county the best, both in hurling and in football. And as I say, we're a small county, Mick. And we do our best. And in a lot of situations we're punching above our weight. But there is good bit of talent out there. There's probably not all playing for the county at the moment. One in particular, who's played out in this ground here twice this season. That's Granard and Kenagh.
Oh, gee, yeah.
I think he had exams and he couldn't commit. And
you'd love to see him if he was available.
I'd like to see Jack Duggan back too.
Jack, it'd be great to get him back from
Roscommon. And Jack playing club football in Longford and playing with Clonguish, and a Longford man, playing for his county, I know his father played with Roscommon. He won't mind me saying it, but we're claiming Jack, because we need all the Jack Douglas we can get. You know what I mean?
More of it.
And Matthew Carey and lads like that, he's going to come into it. Matthew Carey's a serious talent. I mean, this guy is kicking points for fun, He do it with his eyes closed.
Every game he's doing it,
Well, look, sure, we'll leave on that note, full of optimism for the future for Longford, and before we go, then, Jimmy, your team, your group, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, I have an easier job to thank you for asking. I'll go to the easy group.
And I would like you to take note of how quickly you deliver your
Ask him about the tough group now.
It's quite
No. But you asked me about the tough group last week.
You were assigned your groups.
It's a bit awkward now.
Sorry now.
And your sound.
We didn't interrupt you. Right. Go ahead,
Killoe won. I think Colmcille will be Rathcline and go second, Rathcline third, and I think Mostrim will beat Granard, they'll go fourth.
Jimmy, thank you. As they say, it used to be thanks very much, but now it's thank you so much for that. Now, Podgy, could you try and follow that, please, with your group? Thank you.
I do the short straw this one.
Podgy, you're going again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, as I said, and as I said at the outset when we started doing these programmes, that I made a prediction in the Longford leader that who'd get through, and this is before a ball was kicked, and who wouldn't make it. So I'm not going to desert my prediction at this stage.
Do you think you'll be able to give us an answer before the end of the whole championship, Podgy?
No.
We just want a prediction, 1, 2, 3.
I have a keen interest in this group for obvious reasons, but anyway, my own opinion is that obviously Abbeylara are through, be joined by Mullinacht. Carrigan might have something to say about that, so I'll go Abbeylara, Mullinacht. Who else will be there? Clonguish will get the wind in the knees, and Dromard and Slashers, that's a toss-up now. And just feeling that Dromard could be very, very hard beaten. So.
Sorry, folks. I think we're getting to the end of it now.
Yeah.
So if you can hang in there,
I'm going to give a slight nod to Dromard.
Why is that? Because they're playing Slashers.
No, it's not that, Jimmy. It's because they drew with Mullinacht and the vet Carrigan. They didn't become a bad team overnight now.
Right.
So will we see the real Dromard Saturday evening? Well, we're sure that remains to be seen.
Well, look at with that.
Still no answer.
With that procrastination from our procrastination expert, Podgy O'Brien. Podgy, who's up in the Everest, where he's joining us live from Mount Everest. Jimmy, who's joining us from Carrantoul, and myself, who am here in the basking sun here in Ballyman. I'd like to say thank you very much for looking, and we look forward to the next round. Interesting times ahead. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you very much.